Welcome a NBA All-Star and a Hall of Fame nominee, Terry Cummings.
I use the phrase slow is quick. But the connection with the youth has always been my heart. All of my life I've been through physical things that knock me down. The thing you should fear is that you would not fail, but that you would quit. That should be your biggest fear.
I'd like to welcome a NBA All-Star and a Hall of Fame nominee right here from DeKalb County. Well, from Chicago, but in DeKalb County, Terry Cummings. And just so excited to have you on the show. And I know you got some special day here with 100 Black Men induction. But Terry, tell us a little bit about your career.
I think the thing that I do, and my wife, Darlene, has made me more aware of some of the things I've accomplished, because I think that when you're over in them, you don't always see yourself in them. And it takes getting older, stepping away from it, then you start to say, well, I did that. I didn't know I did that. Well, one of the things was in my freshman year, I went to Harlan High School in Chicago. I was about an average height kid, about 5'7", 5'8". But between my freshman year and my sophomore year, I grew from 5'8" to 6'4" over that summer.
Wow.
And then I averaged a couple inches a year to my senior year, where I was at 6'9", where I am now.
So your parents were not happy with trying to dress you.
Well, you know what? It wasn't. It was. I'm one of 13 children.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't like it was going to change anything. I got hand-me-downs.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter that I was taller than everybody else. I got what came down. But I was saying this because I didn't get to play as a sophomore in high school. I only played 2 years of high school basketball.
Wow.
And I did something major over the summers. I played in the Chicago Pro-Am League. And that league was flooded with all kind of talent from overseas, from pros in the NBA, college players, high school players, street players. The best of everything was at Chicago State. And I was allowed to come in. I was underage, but they snuck me in because I looked like I was older than I really was.
Okay.
And then I was playing like a man at that stage of my life against men, so nobody ever thought,
damn worried,
this kid's only 16 years old or 17. But so I played 2 years of high school. I then recruited myself to DePaul because they couldn't get through the coach at my high school to get to me. So I called them and recruited myself. I asked them, why hadn't you all recruited me? Because I'm interested in you. And I was more interested in DePaul because of Ray Meyer than I was the overall thing. I love, Mark Aguirre and what they'd done the year before. They went to the Final Four. But Ray was the thing, because I've always been an old kind of spirit. I like sitting down talking to people who know things. And Ray knew a whole lot. And he educated me on a lot of things. And I wound up going to DePaul. I stayed there 3 years. I left at the end of my junior year and wound up going hardship in the NBA and became the number 2 pick overall in the draft. That year it was James Worthy was 1. I was number 2. Dominique was number 3 in the draft. And the irony is that all three of us, neither one of us knew who was going to go first, but we knew we were going to go either first, second, or third. And it turned out that really, when you look back at it, either myself or Dominique could have been in James Worthy's place,
wow,
as a number 1 pick. But I enjoyed the game of basketball while I played it. I always knew that when I retired from it, which I did after 18 years of playing and at 40 years old, I knew I didn't have to go back because I knew I'd given everything. And I played the game the way I saw it and the way I felt it and the way I lived it, so that I didn't have to go back and think in terms of regret.
Curious now, so you played those years. How did you get to DeKalb? How did you get to Atlanta?
Well, my best friend lives here. He and I always talked about, and this is in terms of ministry, that when I retired, I would come back to Atlanta and work with him in his ministry, in his church, and help build it up, Bishop Wiley Jackson. So that's how I got here initially. And then I wound up staying and becoming a pastor myself in '07. I think '07 I started pastoring. It's 18 years I've been pastoring a church here in the Atlanta area. So that's how I actually got here.
So which church are you pastor of?
The church is called Hope Eugenital Ministries International, and we are an outreach ministry, and we are a ministry where, as a leader, I deal more in teaching and instructing and getting people ready for whatever it is that they're called to do.
So that's to get you so close to this youth development.
Yeah, well, the connection with the youth has always been my heart. I mean, I bypassed it in the original statement of talking, but in high school, as soon as I left high school and went to college, when I got into the league, I came back to the high school and talked to one of the former teachers, Terry Thomas, and one of the other young students that was there at the time, Harold Ward, and we formed a group called VIC, which was Victory in Christ. And what we did was we started doing a basketball camp, and I mean, we would do it a week at a time every August, and we would service about 300, 400, 500 kids during the course of that week. And it was the thing that brought me the greatest joy and the greatest peace at the same time, because I don't remember anybody coming back for me when I left the inner city, or even when I lived in the inner city streets of Chicago. I don't remember them coming back, and it not very often at all. But it was one of those things. We not only did the camp for about 23 years, but we took probably 15 years off, and now the camp has started up again. And it's actually being run by a group of young men who grew up in the camp. And to me, that is like another great joy, is just to sit there and watch them work, and have the same heart that I had. It's kind of almost like shepherding. You can't do this in anybody's neighborhood and not really care for the people. And we have to. I mean, it's the generation that if we want to change all of the stuff we don't like here and now, it starts with those generations that are coming after us. We have to pour into them and find the best way to do it.
So that leads into the question of, and you can do this from a basketball point of view or a life point of view, what's a piece of advice for kids today, and if they want to pursue basketball, if they want to pursue sports, if they want to pursue whatever?
I use the phrase, slow is quick. Don't be so quick to want to get to where you see other people. I remember once, my youngest son, I have 3 sons, the youngest son, Sean, was having some issues in school years ago. And when we took him to a child psychiatrist to talk to, because he wouldn't talk to us. And he wouldn't talk to us in front of the psychiatrist either, so they asked us to leave the room. And after talking to him for 30 or 40 minutes, which Sean had always been articulate, and as a younger kid, even now, the psychiatrist said, there's nothing wrong with him. They said his biggest problem is he wants to be you right now, talking about me. And that's where I get the slow is quick. Take your time, enjoy the ride. You only get to be young once.
Yes.
And there's many things for you to learn, because you don't want to arrive at that place just because you're talented enough and gifted enough to be there, but you're not talented or gifted enough to stay.
Very good point.
So you slow is quick. Take your time, learn the lessons, build the foundation, so that when you fall, because you will, it doesn't matter who you are, you will make mistakes. When you fall, you'll have something to fall on. And it's a simple lesson, but one very hard to teach and to learn.
I really like that. And the takeaway I got from your conversation earlier is you got yourself drafted.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't just rely on the coach to do it because he wasn't doing it. But you can even think of, say, your kids today, they're trying to go after a job. You can go that extra step.
Yeah.
And make a call.
Yeah.
If you're looking for going to college, you can go that extra step and say, well, I want to come, but I'm not hearing anything from you. Or I didn't get in. Why can't I get in?
Well, a friend of mine told me something once. He told me, because I run an entertainment company, and this guy, I'd hired him. He was the CPA and one of the executives within the company, and we were going to do a meeting out of town. And while sitting down talking about what we were going to do in the meeting, he said, well, we're going to ask them for such and such and such, a certain amount of money or a certain amount of product. And I said, that seems excessive. I said, I think that's a lot. He said, yeah, but the only thing they could say is yes or no. And it was a turning point for me, because I think with kids today, the thing is to overcome your fear as soon as possible and understand that you should never fear the fact that someone's going to say no to you,
Right.
because you're going to get that. The thing you should fear is that you would not fail, but that you would quit. That should be your biggest fear.
Yeah,
Not
you didn't
failure.
try.
Yeah, not failure, but quitting. And quitting is a big no-no to me. I feel like all of my life I've been through physical things that knocked me down, arrhythmias, collapsing as a rookie on the court, being told I would never play again, and then I come back and play 17 more years. So I've had a lot of things that I had to go against to get here, just to be sitting in front of you.
Wow.
And I encourage people all the time without them knowing what my struggle is. They think, well, he was a ball player, or he's a professional at whatever he does, so this doesn't apply to him. No, anyone that has accomplished anything, and it doesn't really matter what it is, good, bad, or indifferent, it has cost them something to be there.
And it's true that you don't think of the pro players or actors or whatever having setbacks or having down, but they had a lot to get there, like your story.
Yeah, it comes with a cost. You can't. Greatness is a funny thing because you can never measure greatness by mediocrity, and yet many times that's what people are trying to do. That's why we have such a heavy discussion about who's the GOAT, LeBron or MJ. And the thing is you have to measure it by things that this group that plays now and the group before them, they can't really truly measure it because they didn't play under the same duress we played under.
Sure.
It was a different game. The whistle blew differently, whereas they have in their generation of players, a lot of guys who could score, 25, 30 points a game. That would be like 30 and 15 now, if not more. And a player like Michael Jordan, it would be like off the charts, because he was always driving to the basket, getting hit and making plays.
Yeah.
And these guys, it's a little different game. I think that the college game is probably more physical than the high school game. I mean, the pro game at times.
Wow.
Watching college is a whole lot more fun for me too.
Well, I kind of feel that way about college football
Yeah.
versus pros.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've got to get you in to get inducted into the 100 Black Men.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you being on the show,
I appreciate
and
you.
I'm anxious to see the rest of the evening.
Me too.
Well, Terry, thank you so much.
No, thank you.